Welcome to Stay Clean and Safe, a podcast created with the financial support of the European Union. Here we share ideas, tips, and stories that will help us build healthier, safer, and cleaner communities together. Let's get started. Hello. Today we will talk about what really affects our everyday life, health, and well-being. We will look at something that probably everyone loves: food. We will not only talk about what we eat, but how we eat. Why we eat in a certain way and what we can change to take care not only of our body, but also of the planet. We talk about the habits of food youth and how important they are for physical and mental health. We will think about why it is so difficult to make healthy changes and how to make good habits stay with us longer, without frustration and a constant restart. We will also look at the zero waste concept looks like in practice. In other words, how to eat consciously, taking care of the environment. Is it even possible with a tight schedule and a limited budget? We invited people who support youth on their way to change, from unhealthy habits to a conscious and balanced lifestyle. We will find out what works in practice and how to support young people in building a healthy relationship with food and with themselves. Today's guests are Anna, a youth educator organizing and running educational workshops for young people, cooperating with youth associations for mental and physical health.
Good morning.
And also Claudia, a student representative of youth, promoting healthy eating habits and the zero waste approach.
Good morning.
Anna, let's start with you. You work with young people on a daily basis. Do you notice that the topic of nutrition and lifestyle is an important issue for them?
It all depends on the person. Since it became popular to be fit and fit products appeared on shelves, protein plus products and the like, it has become a more popular topic. In the past, nutrition did not dominate among young people as the main topic of classes, but since the culture of being fit has emerged, more and more often there are various topics of nutrition, healthy nutrition, not wasting products, and the composition of products.
Claudia, what is your perspective? You are a student, you work in student organizations as well as in scouting. Do you see that this topic is important for your peers?
I think so because, first of all, in society we talk about it more and more. Content appears on social media, but also various policies such as those from the European Union, which are more pro-ecological and more pro-healthy nutrition. Therefore, I believe that my circle of acquaintances, whether students or organizations, talk more and more about it. In NGOs, there is even such a pressure to talk about it, to educate about zero waste, about better healthy nutrition, how it affects us. I remember when I was a 13-year-old, we talked about it in scouting, how it affects us, because it also helped us to learn what to eat when we were growing up, for example, to feel better, and what will have a worse impact on our hormonal changes, or not to waste food, because it emits a very large amount of water, simply wasted. Therefore, I believe that this topic of healthy nutrition and ecology is growing more and more in my environment. And this is because it is becoming more and more popular on social media, or there is more and more talk about it in politics, or there are even more rights imposed on us that we do not live by every day.
I think this is a good time to ask a question. How do you really understand? How do you interpret healthy eating habits? What does it mean to you?
In my opinion, healthy nutrition and healthy eating habits concern the way we eat, the relationship we have with food, how we relate to the topic of food in general, as well as to the ecology related to nutrition. That is, do we waste food, do we use plastic, or do we rather use bottles, for example, reusable or bottles? For me, it means healthy eating habits.
For me, however, just like Anna, I believe that eating habits are, above all, our attitude to food. Whether we want to eat well, because it's also just, let's face it, these fast foods tempt us on a daily basis. Especially when I was going out of scouts meetings and I saw that the first thing my scouts were doing was going to shop for a hot dog or a veggie burger, something that really has a tragic component. First of all, it's the awareness of what we eat. Because not all products that are promoted in such a way, ecological or mega healthy, it turns out that when we take a closer look at this component, they are not like that at all. Another thing is our education.
You touched on the topic of education, and I think it's a good time to ask Anna whether young people are willing to talk at all about nutrition, about healthy eating habits, about a healthy lifestyle, and whether, in your opinion, enough attention is paid to it on a daily basis, and whether in formal or informal education?
Young people today, at least the one I have contact with, are most interested in the topic of healthy eating and healthy and good eating habits. They usually look for answers to what is really good and where to start if we want to improve our eating habits. This is due to the fact that they receive a lot of contradictory information, especially from social media or popular scientific sources, which are not always good. Also, products that, as Claudia said, are advertised as fit or healthy with healthy food are not at all what their composition indicates. Therefore, if we start educating someone about healthy eating, we should not start by telling them that they should buy products marked as healthy food, but to start with small things. For example, drinking water instead of sweetened drinks, or for example, replacing one or using vegetables as a side dish for dinner, making a salad instead of sandwiches for school, and so on. As for whether they are supported or educated when it comes to eating in schools, not by themselves, in my opinion, our education on healthy eating is at a very low level. Because, in fact, apart from the basic information, which is the food pyramid, this topic is not discussed in any classes. The only improvement I have noticed in recent times is that the board requires rather healthy things to be sold in school shops, and not, as in my time, mainly sweets.
And what does it look like from your perspective, Claudia?
In NGOs, there are usually such goals to educate about healthy eating, or ecology, or to act on these two things. Therefore, there is a lot of pressure on it, because it is institutionally established in organizations. As well as in such organizations, education outside of formal education is used, which is simply learning through fun, which is my favorite science because it is based on empiricism, that is learning through experience, which is the best in all of this. And children, students, and, in fact, volunteers, and everyone noticed that it does not associate with boredom and tinkering with an empty formula about whether a salad will give us more strength or maybe a piece of ham, but that it actually translates into combining it with good fun. So it seems to me that this informal education is such a breakthrough step towards education about healthy eating.
So, for sure, one of the big challenges of habits for young people is eating in the city, and it is certainly a big challenge to eat in the city and eat healthy. And here we are additionally talking about another issue. Can we eat well and not spend a fortune on it?
It's not about buying all these products marked as healthy food, which are usually twice as expensive as others, but for example, going to the market, buying fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, making a salad, it doesn't cost at all. I would even say that it is much cheaper than buying lunches in restaurants every now and then, or eating out in the city. And also, when it comes to time, for example, I understand that not everyone has time to cook every day. So make yourself, for example, lunch for 2 to 3 days. I know you eat the same, and maybe it won't be super extra for you, but really, it works wonders. Eat lunch for 2 days, make yourself breakfast in the evening, put it in the fridge, make the second breakfast the day before, and it's possible, really.